the holes in the head, a disturbing custom. Various strange rituals developed out of the Sons of Flowers movement of the 1960s, but few were as curmudgeonly as the practice of drilling into one's head to achieve an expanded state of consciousness. Drilling, or the artificial opening of a hole in the skull, was common among certain primitive societies for reasons that have not yet been fully elucidated. The reason for the risky but rarely fatal operation was probably both medical and religious in nature. Modern drillers generally feel the same way. The contemporary movement began in 1962 when a Dutch physician, Bart Hughes, argued that the level and condition of a person's consciousness depended primarily on the volume of blood contained in the brain. Things were different when we walked on all fours, according to Hughes, before we developed the upright station that separates us from the rest of nature. The problem is that the brain became enclosed in a rigid, limiting structure. Made even worse, gravity reduced the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the brain. The solution to the problem, for Hughes, was to take an electric drill and remove a small circle of bone from his skull. The result of this operation, he explained, was increased blood flow and the ability for the brain, once freed, to throb in accordance with the rhythm of the heart. The drilled man's awareness returned to the childlike condition he sought, a condition in which the mind, no longer restricted, remained in touch with the dreams, fantasies, and intense sensations of childhood. Adults lost this ability, Hughes thought, to the extent that their skulls slowly solidified. Drilling as a solution to the human condition, however, did not sit well with the Dutch authorities, who hastened to sentence Hughes to remain under observation in a psychiatric hospital. His ideas did, however, meet with a bit more success among the then emerging hippie community, for whom any kind of new consciousness was worth the risk of trying. The hole drilled directly into the brain, as Hughes wanted, promised permanent mental stimulation. The difficulty, of course, was finding someone to perform the operation, since there was a shortage of witch doctors and shamans. The solution was do it yourself. Hughes' main disciple was Joseph Mellon, a London accountant who had graduated from Oxford and met the Dutch doctor in Ibiza in 1965. Hughes converted him to the idea of drilling. By now, Hughes had summarized his philosophy in one word: brain-blood volume, volume of blood in the brain. Mellon's self-transplantation of his skull, performed with his own hands after 3 aborted attempts, was so successful that he later wrote a book about his experience, Bore Hole, Opening a Hole, the first sentence of which sums up its contents beautifully. This is the story of how I decided to open a hole in my skull to get a permanent high. Mellon recounted that he received from the drilling a new sense of well-being that he said lingers to this day. Later, his fiancée, Amanda Fielding, also underwent the treatment, but instead of writing a book about the ordeal she underwent, she filmed it and titled her little film, The Brain in Rhythm with the Heart. Today, the two modern-day skull drillers still live together in London and run an art gallery.